best way to use your iPhone as a webcam is with CueCam and shoot, and the best way to draw on your webcam is with CueCam and Video Pencil. And I'm going to show you how to set everything up so that you can go on calls and look amazing. There we go. This is Squares TV App Lab number 52, where I'm going to show you how to tie together your Mac, iPhone, iPad, and all of the apps that I've been making and talking about via Squares TV. We have got a private Zoom where I can dial you in if you've got a question on Zoom, or we've got a chat on the YouTube. So just my feed is going out to YouTube. Today I'm gonna give you some updates on CueCam. A new build came out today. I don't know if you noticed. And I will show you how to set up CueCam for the first time. But then I'm going to take you through the disaster that was the conference I went to last week at great expense and in London, down from Edinburgh. I was not too happy with it. Are there Crackles? Neil, I'm so upset that you say that there are Crackles. Let me just see if I can hear them, because I've literally rebuilt the audio engine. So if there's Crackles, it's like time to panic. Check, check, check. Oh, so it must be on the eCam side if there's Crackles. Let me just try monitoring it on through eCam and just see what that feels like. If I just send that out to output audio monitor, bear with me. It's just I really want a clean recording for once, you know. How does this sound? Yeah, it's like crackly on eCam. Yeah. Okay, let's just quit out and come back in. So I will freeze momentarily. Pose to freezing. Okay, this sounds not crackly to me now, but it looks like I need to check a bit more on what eCam's getting, because I think the good thing about this is that there was probably error messages. Right, please tell me if you hear Crackles, because I know that there aren't guaranteed to be no bugs, but now if there's a bug, I know exactly where to go. I have full control. We're all good. So hopefully this is going to be good now. Right. Let me just find where I was. Right, CueCam 1.09. Speak of the devil. Look, I rebuilt the entire audio pipeline. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Really upset that it crackled, because it's the first time I've had Crackles since I've rebuilt it. But hey, this is what, like, when I'm doing these streams, I really do have everything running, and so it's probably I need to be sort of like maybe doing some test streams during the day just to practice it and just make sure. Maybe I'll start doing some developer streams or some little sort of ad hoc things just to sort of make sure that when it's the whole eCam CueCam combo that things are okay. But yeah, we've got a new audio pipeline, but things that are definitely fixed are there was some like sample rate differences were causing problems. So if you had like headphones that were on 44.1 kilohertz, it was just super crackly. That's fixed. Sometimes you get like one channel of audio for some reason. That's fixed. And then loads of other bits and pieces. And also the performance of the app is just like snappier, because I'm not kind of going sort of the long way around on certain things. And this is all like, instead of relying on Apple, I was trying to rely on some Apple frameworks, but they just weren't up to the task of what I was trying to do. So I actually went back to something that worked really well for me 10 years ago and like found the sort of evolution of that. Even though it's not super supported, I can get into the source code, I can sort everything out, I can see it. I was probably getting error messages for every crackle if I'd had the console open. So disappointed that it's not perfect, but yeah, I'm happy. Yes, Neil, schedule a call. Right, what else? I've got right-click menus on the cards, so if I can just show you that. So if you right-click on a card now, you'll get insert card before, insert card after, duplicate, copy deep link, and delete card. So if you if you so I wonder what that was. Yeah, so you can now copy deep links and actually like you can actually create a link on your ATEM or something that goes to a specific card. I don't super see the use case of it, because it's sort of got to load up the document and find it, and it won't always work if the document isn't where it last saw it, or if it's in iCloud or something. But it's a feature that was suggested, and it was relatively trivial to add. So all that stuff is there. There was some like stale camera sources were sticking around in the sidebar. You can press the little bin icon on those now. You can also change the default share. So this button here in your dashboard can now, if you share something else, so what I've got is I'm sharing Blackmagic, but if I share a different camera and then right click on it, I can say set default share, and now the default thing that happens when you click on that share button or use the Stream Deck button is it will share that. So if you, just as a random example, I need to, what are these? I've done a lot of work on this over the last couple of days, so these are probably fairly trivial fixes. But I wonder what is going on there. Closure in scene renderer, stop demo mode, something happened. It's fine. Yeah, you can change the default share, which just means, say you don't want to share your desktop, you just want to share your Firefox window, you can just share a Firefox app and then right click and say make this to my default share, and then forevermore when you press on that button, unless it's a slide showing or something, it's going to show that share. There was some issues with light mode on Macs because I use dark mode, and I hadn't noticed that sometimes you couldn't see certain you couldn't see the microphone input names and stuff on light mode. So if you're running in light mode, you should suddenly see a lot more stuff there. That maybe some stuff was like the background image wasn't clear that was there because some stuff was invisible. ChatGPT was crashing. I have now fixed that. I've also made it do via my server so that I want to share this on Hacker News and Product Hunt, and I do not want it to be shared when my key for OpenAI stuff is just out in the clear and someone could just take it and spend loads of money on my account. So now that's not possible. So that's just something I wanted to do. Another optimization was I am now supporting I'm introducing H.264 streams. So H.264 is a video codec that lets you compress video and send it over the air and then unencode it. I've been using HEVC, high efficiency, or H.265, which is Apple's fancier one. The main reason for that is because you can do a transparent thing for Video Pencil, so I can get a transparent feed compressed. But I think it adds a bit of overhead and isn't supported on older devices. So I thought, well, let's try just making it so that when you're connecting to Shoot, when you're sending the video feed to Video Pencil, it will try and do H.264 now. I haven't shipped the versions of Shoot or Video Pencil that actually support this yet, but I'm hoping it's going to lead to a bit of a performance improvement and make things a little bit snappier on those video feeds. I have also added record triggers to cards. So now, I hope this doesn't, I think it's crashing when I exit demo mode maybe. But now on cards, under triggers, we have got you can start recording or stop recording from a trigger on a card. So if you want to sort of crash, we've got a crash coming out of demo mode. That's annoying. Luckily, I'm going to be demoing other stuff on the other thing. Okay, so we know what that is. Record triggers. So now, if you've got a CueCam Script, you can maybe you can make it start recording on a certain card, and then you go through the thing, and then you make it finish, and so you can get some tight sort of starting, finishing things. And sort of, because I was thinking do I make the record button automatically start the script or something? But then I thought, well, why don't I just make that a feature on the cards, and then you can sort of choose. So I've got like a demo where I want to remind myself before I start what I'm gonna say and what commands I need to run to reset the state of everything. So that's in there. There is a brand new sidebar, which I'm not going to be able to show you because it requires jumping into... I'll just share my desktop. If I just share my desktop... this is a nightmare. Let's hide the slide. This is a nightmare. But there is now a new thing, which is a sidebar on the right. So if you select a card, you can actually see sort of all of your stuff in one place instead of having to like sort of go through the tabs on the thing. And then the goal of that is also then is to start supporting multi-select, and being able to, if you multi-select, it'll give you can change the layout, but I want that to be like all the things that you might want to change. So let's come out of that. That was record triggers. So that new sidebar, I just introduced that. I've been thinking it might be a cleaner way than doing the pop-up all the time. It's also easy to grab things in. Fewer glitches. There was this glitch where videos would like restart randomly. It was actually, if the file got saved, then it would like restart the current video because of a thing which I've figured that out, and it was at kind of the root level of the application, so it was kind of causing a lot of unexpected side effects. But yeah, you shouldn't get like weird stuff happening so much. The Teleprompter UI, I have made some fixes to. So now if you hover over the teleprompter, you get like the size controls and you get the width, and you can sort of see that it's the teleprompter, because I sort of put this in front of someone and it's sort of not clear what that blob, that thing of text is, but now like you can hover over it. Should I just risk a crash, or shall I show it you on the? I'll show it to you when we switch over to the A10 feed. You can also trim videos, so you can set the in point and the end point of a video. So if you've got any videos on your cards, this was something John During asked for, but I made it so you can click edit, start end points. You can set the start point, and then that's where the video will start playing. And we also have like end, make it either loop, or you can make it go to the next card at the end of a video playing. So that's something I'll be using today when I take you through Bett. So I think that's kind of cool. The recordings are put in a more sensible place now under movies, like I think movies, CueCam recordings, and they're named based on the document and with the date, and they should be a bit easier to like. It's not, they're not just going into like a volatile temporary folder anymore. I keep thinking I've got like a really big thing on my nose, but I think it's just the pink light. And yeah, finally the delay calculator is back. It does not crash anymore. So if your audio is not in sync, please tell me my audio is in sync. If your audio isn't in sync, then there's a really easy way to fix that now, which I will show you in future. But if you just have a look, it's under the microphone thing. It's on the panel that pops up. Click on there. There's calculate the delay, and it will say clap. You'll do the clap, then it will show you the timeline. You'll click on the thing, you'll go save delay, and now you will not have any audio delay on your video. So that is now back. So that's all the things that are with CueCam 1.09. It's amazing how much I can get done when I'm not at a conference, i.e. the last couple of days. Although I did sort of sacrifice my artistic day yesterday. Part of this is like I've got this baby coming. I feel like I've got 2 weeks left to get all the stuff kind of done and dusted, so that I can sort of like people can run with it for a bit. But yeah, it's meaning that I'm sort of like I got up at like 5:30 yesterday and just worked from like 7 until like whatever 6, and just to try and get everything done. Yeah. So let's talk about CueCam, like for the first time. Let's talk about what's involved in that. So we are on, this is my Mac Mini, coming through the black magic. So the colours are slightly washed out, which is, I have not managed, if anyone knows how to make the colours right on a Mac coming through an ATEM, if David Paskin was here, I'm sure he could tell me. But here's the website, CueCamPresenter.com. You can just download the app for free from here. You can do a lot with the free version of this app. This is actually grey here, so I don't know what to do about this. I just want to like check if I can just make this a bit less weird. Is it like that? You can't see the grey. I don't know. Right, so you download the app. And now that is in your downloads as a DMG, we click on that, it automatically gives you this thing. Drag that into applications. I'm trying to pretend that I haven't done this before, but drag it into applications. If we double click on applications now, we'll be able to see it there. But let's just drag it to our dock so that we can find it again. Tidy up here. Launch it for ostensibly the first time. Now the first thing, CueCam Presenter is an app downloaded from, and you see here it says Apple checked it for malicious software and none was detected. That's the key information here. It's signed, it's notarized, it's not through the App Store, but it is as good as it can be without being through the App Store. So it's safe. We open that and we're going to get these checkboxes of things that we need to do. Now you see it's sort of like, I haven't managed to completely clean up all the permissions, but these will all be X's usually. So I'm going to allow, that's going to go camera, and some of these will just pop up normally. I'm going to make sure the camera extension is installed. It's going to give me instructions, right? It's going to say, click here first, then open system settings. So just make sure you click on that. So click here first, open system settings, and now it's showing me like there's an allow button down here. So just make sure you hit this allow button here. And that is going to just ask you for confirmation. I'm going to use my watch, and now that camera extension is installed, and you can say done. But it's not going to be picked up straight away. It's going to say relaunch required. It is alleging that the virtual mic is installed, but I'm just going to like if you ever run into problems with the virtual mic, virtual camera, which is distinct from the camera permissions and mic permissions. This is the virtual mic and the camera extension. Like if you ever have any issues, just try like uninstalling the virtual mic, and then like output virtual mic. You see it says down here restart required, and then we'll just like, well, we'll close this. We'll just say all done, and I'll just show you. I uninstalled the virtual mic, but I'm just going to install that again to make sure it's fresh. And the other one is, if the virtual camera is weird, then you can just uninstall, install, and that's that should help. So right, it's saying restart your Mac. So let's do that. Let's actually do that. So I'm just going to restart, and while we are doing that, let me tell you about CueCam. CueCam lets you share things on your webcam really easily. Pictures, videos, your desktop, a view from a second, there's the Mac rebooting, a view from a second camera with your main camera picture-in-picture. It's the best way to use Video Pencil on your Mac, and it's the best way to use Shoot on your Mac, and it lets you create these smart scripts that you can use with Shoot's teleprompter to kind of know what you're going to say. So, now that we are we back on the Blackmagic? Yeah, we should be. So let's just make sure. We should be on the Blackmagic. Let's just make sure that's, yeah, we're on here. So, and that's how I'm running this whole stream as well. So, where is my picture-in-picture? Right, so we've rebooted. It's telling me your screen is being controlled because it is by me for part of the stream. This isn't part of CueCam. So if we launch CueCam now, we can have a look at what it looks like. Yes, do please automatic download and install. Check automatically. Now, what do you do next? Right, you're going to need, let me make sure Shoot is ready on here. Right, you are going to need to see what this looks like. So we're going to just create blank script to sort of get the document window, and this is going to give you your camera preview and your various options. Now, first thing you want to do is select a camera. Now, what do we want to do here? Well, I'm instead of this is a Mac Mini, so it hasn't got a camera. So what I'll show you is I've got this iPhone, like it's an old iPhone. I'm just going to launch Shoot on here, and once it pops up, this is another new feature, by the way. This isn't on the app, but now I can pick which one to connect to. If I connect on I tell it to connect to the Mac Mini. Now, on this screen share, we're going to see as a camera option Shoot on my iPhone XR. So now I can use Shoot on the Mac Mini wirelessly, although you can plug it in with the wire as well. That's probably safer in some situations. But yeah, basically, we're now just using Shoot as a webcam. And you can like open up the sidebar if you want, and you can sort of adjust settings of Shoot just from your Mac. You can say, oh, you know, well, that's a bit of a weird one. That's the color balance. We can say, oh, I want my white balance a bit. Like maybe we can like cut the, can we cut, I mean, the ISO is kind of maxed already. So maybe if we like, can we like cut the shutter speed and then increase the ISO maybe? Oh no, we're in like super slow shutter speeds now. But anyway, let's just have auto everything, bring everything back to auto. But you see, and then also a feature we have here is face follow. So this is what the normal camera looks like, but with face follow switched on, it's gonna sort of keep you in the center, and then it's also going to do some other clever stuff as well. So that's the best way to get, you know, to use a camera with this and to use Shoot. And also if you have bought, you know, if you have a license for CueCam, that unlocks Shoot and it unlocks Video Pencil. By the way, like Video Pencil is just I'm using CueCam on a different Mac, so that's just there. But if you have Video Pencil, if you just launch Video Pencil on the same network, that is going to just immediately let you start drawing on there as well. So you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to use live titles. You're going to be able to move stuff around. You're going to be able to zoom in and zoom out on your desktop. All sorts of things with Video Pencil. Just out the box. The other main thing you're going to want to do is pick a microphone. So here's the button to choose main mic down here. Oh, I've got to make sure I'm clicking on the actual interactive one. Choose main mic. So I've got my wireless Go receiver plugged in just because it's a sort of convenient one. Let me go and grab the check. Is it plugged in? Is it on? So this should be, you should see a bit of metering now, but I'm having, let's try like turning off this thing. I don't know how reliable this, because before I picked it, and then to start off with, it wanted one, and then it wanted the other one. Let's try the other one. Where did I put it? I just want to show you the meter going, but I'm trying to find the other. Hang on a sec. Where is the, oh, I'm seeing, let's just try, where did I put the other one? There's two microphones with this. Okay. I guess I have misplaced a wireless Go transmitter earlier. Is it on the floor? Okay, I just wanted to show you that bouncing, but I guess it's just, we're going to have to use your imagination. When this is working, you will see nice bouncing green on there. And just the final step of this is, you know, you're going to use this with Zoom or whatever. So if we like fire up Zoom, and I'm not signed in, but I can go to preferences. So video, we're going to select CueCam as the camera. That's actually, there's nothing else on my machine. In fact, like especially on a Mac Mini, there's nothing else on there. And then audio, you're going to select CueCam audio. And now you might think, oh, okay, I'm in Zoom now. Like, how am I going to get to all those features of CueCam? Well, you've actually got a menu up here. So this is CueCam's dashboard. So you can like change, if I wanted to change to the back camera, I could do that from up here. We could have a view of the microphone arm. If we wanted to change to the virtual green screen. Ooh, hello, it's like a fake green screen. Oh, we're not seeing that because we're not on the, yeah. So here we are, look, we've got the fake green screen in Zoom. That's just, yeah, that's another whole thing. But yeah, we can go to the front camera, get that back, and we can also share things. So this is the dashboard, and this is the quickest way to quickly share something on your call. So you can grab a display. So I just want to share my whole screen. This is going to give us a bit of feedback, but you know, or we can share a particular app. So say we just wanted to share our Safari window. I'll come back to Zoom. Now the only thing is sometimes, like if I've got a very small screen going on here. Where is my Zoom window? Let's bring Zoom back. We can come back here. Let's make sure I can see our video preview. Right, I can actually in here say share a specific app. So now if I share Safari, you can see it's sharing Safari with no other apps. So, and it's got me in picture. That's, and something cool with the face follow is I'm always going to be in the middle of that button when face follow is turned on. So you see this one. Oh, wait, sorry. This one is my big computer, and I'm on a big Canon DSLR. So this is like a nice, this is like a 2.5 grand camera, so a lot more expensive than an iPhone. But this, if I move over here, then when I'm in picture, I'm sort of like cut off a bit. Can you see down there? I'm like cut off. Whereas, I don't know if you're noticing here, I'm like, wherever I move, it's kind of keeping me, it's kind of keeping me in that bubble. So if I come over here, it's just going to like keep me in the center of that bubble. I've got it set to quite slow tracking. We can actually like speed up the tracking a bit. You can make it a bit ridiculous actually. So if I went face follow, just go really fast, and then you see like wherever I move here, wait, sorry, I'm drawing on it. So wherever I move here, it's going to like keep me in the bubble pretty quickly. So that can be really handy for picture-in-picture, and that's one of the main reasons I added it, was to keep you in a good place in there. And of course, with the dashboard, if you don't want the picture-in-picture, this is weird because the zoom window does not take over the menu when I click on it, and then it's got like the massive other window. But if I click here, I can actually turn off my picture-in-picture. So you see that's now gone. And I can turn on my picture-in-picture again. All these features with the dashboard, you don't even have to pay. Like, this is just sort of me phasing out video pencil camera and giving you a lot more stuff. If you wanted to quickly write some text in, like something was a bit unclear, someone's got a strong accent, you can just go, I mean this, right? And you're going to see that. Now, the thing is, like this, you'll see on Zoom that everything's reversed because Zoom by default will mirror your camera. So, if in doubt, just check. You can look at the CueCam window and see if we just stop sharing. So you can just click there to stop sharing Safari. So now when we've got our text up, you can see that is the right way around. It's just like, it's a bit easier to kind of like follow it when you're like it's easier to, if it's just a webcam, it's easier to treat it as a mirror, but it does lead to stuff like this when it's mirrored. And then the final thing is, if you're and something I'll show you is like if I generally want to share Safari, I can actually right click on here and say set Safari as default share, and now if I X out of that, I'm not sharing Safari anymore, and then I click it again, I'm sharing Safari again. So I can just make that my toggle, my Safari share, and just set that up with my Stream Deck and be able to just always have Safari or whatever app is on that button at my fingertips. And then while you're sharing, you've got a side 3D. So you can just click here and that moves that down. So often you're sharing something and you just want to temporarily, ooh, what's going on there? Often you're sharing something, you just want to temporarily sort of like think about something for a moment, talk about something, make a little digression, and this is a really good way of being able to do that. You just aside 3D, bring it back, bring it down. Sometimes you might want to show that you're browsing through the website someone's talking about, so you can just visually be like scrolling. They can see down here what you're doing, and that's a really fun way of just sort of someone's talking to you and they're like, oh, I can see you're on the website, and you can say, yeah, this bit's oh sorry, I pressed the wrong aside. So you can sort of bring it back up again and start drawing on it. Say, yeah, this was a really interesting thing here, and start drawing on it and doing things like that with it. You can zoom in and out, all that kind of stuff. So that's your dashboard. And then the other thing is, what is this massive pink button here? So this takes us to the real power of CueCam, which is that, and let's tidy this up because it's a bit chaotic with that zoom window, isn't it? The real power of CueCam is that you not only have real-time control over this stuff, but you can also sort of sequence this. You can create a script. So this is what a CueCam script looks like. So I can say, this is the first thing I need to say. And I can say, and then I'm going to say, okay, and I have, I have some bullets, and point 1, point 2. I might want to add like a title and say hello on the first slide. And maybe this one's got a title as well. Let's just call it My Points. And then maybe on the next slide we want to show a picture. So let's have a look in my downloads folder. Let's put this baby in. So we can just drag that onto the card, and now we're going to be sharing the baby picture. That's what people mean by a baby picture, but okay. And then maybe we'll add one more card with a video on it. We can sort of add a video onto that. We can see it's importing it. When you save this document, it's all going to be sort of encoded in there. And now when we press the big button, it just starts the presentation. Now, if we look at the camera feed now, you can see on here, right, we've got our teleprompter up here. So this is a new thing that you can sort of like see what's going on here. So you can set the max width of the teleprompter like this. You can change the size of it. This is more useful for the HUD window, which we'll get into another day. But I'll show you now what is useful about this. Well, now I'm here. If I press next, you see it's got the points, and you also see if we hide this for a moment, when we press the pink button, it's going to show this bullet point. Press the big button again, it's going to show the next bullet point, and we can do this from up in the menu as well. Or we can do, you can use a Stream Deck. You probably use a Stream Deck or a foot pedal or something. Go next. Now we've got the baby. Now, and let's just say something about this baby. Right. Now, the teleprompt, this is where Shoot really comes into its own, because if I show you, if I share my Shoot camera again, here is, so it's seeing my phone that I'm pointing, here is the teleprompter, but also, oh no, we need to, if we come back to, actually I think we need to come back to, this and just say output, program feed, send output to Shoot, and just make sure that that program feed is going out to Shoot on my iPhone XR. Now, on that iPhone, you can actually see what you're presenting at the moment. So if I go back, I can see my bullet points. I can see them appearing. Yeah, like I think that I need to, yeah, you can see my bullet points appearing, point 1, point 2. I can see that on my phone screen. Anything that I've added to CueCam is going to show up there. And also, here's my teleprompter. So here are my notes about what I've got to say. So I go back, and I can see all my speaker notes on there. And I can go through, I can see what I'm seeing, and I can step through, I can play a video and see that playing. See, like there's a video playing now. And if I just come back to the desktop share, you can control the video, and you can, I'll show you, oh by the way, a new feature I added today was now these videos, if you click here, hold on a minute, so you can click to edit these cards. Let's just stop the script and let's just have a look at this. So I think someone said it's a bit like if your screen is really small, it can be a bit cramped. Let's just make sure. Well, what I can do is, why is this not letting me edit? Let's just add another one. So, oh, it's because I've only got 3 cards because okay, so these are disabled because I haven't signed into CueCam. So if I just sign into CueCam, sign in with my Apple ID, I will, sign in with my Apple Watch on Safari, and now I'm going to come back to CueCam, and it should, let's just click launching CueCam, let's just allow that. Right, and now we're unlocked, and now we should get all of it. We should be able to edit everything. So that's so it sort of limits you to 3 cards when you don't have the license. So that was what was going on there. So I think that's quite a good way of demonstrating that. But if we click on the video, we can actually go edit start end time now, and we can say, okay, I want this to start here, end here. And then when it's finished, I want it to pause, or I want it to stop, or I want it to go to the next card, or I want it to loop. And so that's, you can set the volume on the video, you can set the playback speed, and you can, if you want to do something like my intro thing, you can set the opacity as well. So you've got all these controls. This is the smart script system with a few things that have been added over the last few days that I'm quite excited about, which I always harp on about for a bit too long. But yeah, that's your first sort of setting up of CueCam, a few of the things you can do with it. And I hope you will give that a try. And that is at CueCamPresenter.com. CueCam-presenter.com. You can download it for free. It does everything Video Pencil does. It does everything. It just basically lets you use your Mac really nicely. And if you buy it, then Shoot and Video Pencil come included, so you don't have to pay for those licenses. If you already have the licenses, they're discounted. So, I will quickly answer Neil's question, which is, do you know if there will be any conflicts with eCam Live's virtual camera, as well as the new beta that installs a system-wide extension? I guess I haven't read up on the new beta. I suppose they're doing proper camera extensions now, because they've been using the old DAL style camera extensions for a while, which aren't compatible with FaceTime Apple. So it's kind of more of the same thing, really. There shouldn't be any conflicts, no, but you sort of have to decide what your pipeline is if you are going to use them both. I just kind of take CueCam's, I take CueCam's virtual camera output with all the slides and all the graphics and all the things, and I just pipe that into an input of eCam. And just use it as the main input for eCam. And then if I do need to do anything extra, I can set up scenes. And of course, don't forget that with CueCam, you can trigger eCam scenes. And it works with OBS, it works with Mimo Live as well. So if you did have a script that called for a more complex setup, you could trigger those different scenes as and when you needed them. But then you get all this really easy stuff out the box for most of the time when you just want to put some text up, you just want to draw, you just want to do this and that. Like that stuff is all, just use CueCam as a camera feed into eCam and you're going to be golden. That's assuming you want to pay for you know, eCam's expensive, so I'm trying to I don't know, I wouldn't mind getting over to OBS as my streaming thing, but I like eCam. It's a lot less annoying than OBS, but now CueCam is doing a lot of the things I used to have to set up. But actually I made Beat Sheet for that, so that's not entirely true. Anyway, let's talk about my experience of Bett now, unless there are more questions on that. So I've got my little script for Bett now. So I'm just going to take you through it. I haven't really sort of rehearsed this much, but it kind of sucked. It's weird because I was living in London until last October. So on top of I don't know, it was one of the cheaper, it was like a startup ticket. So it was like 450 quid or something. So it wasn't loads, but I had to get flights and a hotel. So I stayed in a hotel in Stratford for nostalgia reasons. It was my first flight down. But yeah. Again, the day I was flying was the start of a big storm, and the weather forecast said it was going to start just as I was supposed to take off. And I was in the airport looking up, look, it said it was 43 miles an hour gusts, and I was like, oh no, what's the maximum gust? Oh, there's no single maximum wind limit, as it depends on the direction, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking at all this, worrying about that. But it was actually pretty smooth. We got the world's poshest captain. Listen to this guy.
Even if you are a frequent flyer, we ask your full attention, as it does give important information for our safety, specific to this aircraft type you haven't flown before.
So I made it to London, got on the DLR, did all this good stuff. This is where my first ever job was, Bridge House in London 20 years ago. So I sort of got off the tube and it was there, and then the next morning I was on the DLR to the conference centre and thinking, okay, what's this going to be? I do not know why they kept banging on about printing your own badge, because they had the world's fastest, most efficient badge printing system. I was like, you scan your QR code and it comes out instantly. It was like, okay, I don't know why you made such a fuss about this. But as soon as I was in there, I was like, look, this sort of like the vertigo of this building. So much walking around. Also that morning I was trying to meet up with someone to get this passport application for my EU passport sorted out. So I was like running around feeling a bit stressed about that. But then I went into the arena, and the first thing, it was kicked off with this. And I'm like, don't make me presume that you're going to make me stand up and dance. And it just really sort of set me off on the wrong foot. This was Dame Darcy Bustle, who's got I've got a foundation to get kids moving more. But like, I've been listening to a lot of this podcast called Maintenance Phase recently, and it's really helped me sort of identify fat phobia and the way that marginalization works. And I just was like, yeah, you're just using some white privilege to make this thing that you can do, and then you're going to like have children dance in the classroom. And I'm sure that's great for the ones that do, but you're going to fight obesity but like not really understand why there is more sedentary life happening, and not really understand anything about the increased marginalization that people that don't want to participate in that are going to feel. So, it's just going to give more like reasons to tease the, certain pupils and like, blaming technology and screen time for increased sedentary lifestyles. And I'm like, or could it just be that no one can afford anywhere to live anymore? Or could it just be that like public funding for things is massively being cut all the time? And I'm just thinking, like, where should these children be dancing? In their like overcrowded classrooms, in their cramped flats, in streets filled with cars? It's like, this was a pet project of someone coming from a position of privilege, having no concept of the challenges faced by normal people. And that was kind of the tone of the whole conference. It was like, technology, we're going to invent this thing, that we're going to put loads of STEM in schools, and they're going to have robots to program, and they're going to use this and that and the other. Meanwhile, funding just being slashed for these institutions across the board constantly, and teachers being expected to do more and more, and like there was just no mention of any of the stuff that teachers go through, and it was just kind of like depressing. And then we got like a politician, I'm not gonna go too much into this, but I'm gonna say this person started talking. She said very little. We got some forgettable tech. Oh, did you know that ChatGPT, someone actually used it to help them with their homework? It's like, yeah, sure. I've heard about this one. So I checked her record. She's generally sort of like voted against, like stuff that would help people, against raising benefits and things, even in lines with. So this is a sort of typical thing. And then just, if you know anything about the UK, basically the financial crisis was here. And then the party that got into power said, okay, well, we're going to make the poor pay for that. So they cut all the funding for, this is education investment since that government came into power. They've been in power for 13 years now, and they have just slashed everything. And then they're going to come and say, oh, AI is going to make everything better. No, it's not. You have to spend this money to make things better. Where are we going to get it? Maybe out of the military budget. So we had some burns, but yeah, like, she talked a little bit about, Julia Garvey came next, talked a little bit about public function, but it was sort of came across as an afterthought, and this was a tech conference. So. Well, there was a good, the main event was Louis Theroux talking to Loyal Kana, who's a rapper. Again, it was a little bit, okay, you've sort of overcome some marginalisation, but he went to private school. So I don't know what normal people are supposed to take from this. This is just like an overhead of the conference. This is kind of the tone of it. People just sort of ambling through. We had the, there was some other speakers, and they sort of did sort of like ostensibly diverse speakers, lots of people of colour talking, but like sort of only that. And I feel like there are other groups that could perhaps use the platform that are perhaps going through stuff at the moment that perhaps they could have maybe taken a bit more of a risk about who they were going to put up there. And it just seemed like there was a lot of copium about like copium being, about like what's going to solve this, the technology is going to solve it. And people saying AI is going to free up time for teachers and give them more time to do more stuff. But I just say, like, when did technology ever give anyone more time? No, it just gave them more to do. And that's going to keep happening until we sort of address the systemic issues. Again, it's an education conference. There's a lot of people saying technology is the answer to something. We know it's not the answer. We know that policy is the answer to things. And no one was saying that, and that made me sad. I spoke to, I might do some stuff with like some tech teaching stuff for like STEM. There was that, and there was some empathy stuff and some interesting little kind of like charity stuff that I might try and get involved with in a bit. But then I did talk to a guy. It was really hard to talk to the attendees without a stand. So this was a real problem. So I was sort of talking to the people on the stands, and I just realized at one point, talking to this guy, Kieran from Prim Ed, and asking him about his pricing, and he basically has to price. He's got like a web platform. It's quite innovative. It's like a nice platform. He's got some sort of printed stuff. But I was saying, like, how do you price this? How are you going to get this into institutions? He's like, I just make it cheap enough that the teachers can buy it with their own money. And it's like, that was like £6.50 a month. I'm like, okay, I guess that's where we are. If we want to do anything interesting, we're just putting more of that financial burden onto teachers instead of being able to even address the institutional things. So that's, again, a bit depressing. I then was kind of sad and got mugged by HelloFresh because we don't have a veggie box, and they managed to somehow get my credit card. They got my credit card details, and then it was very hard to cancel it afterwards when I had a moment to think. They still billed me even though I deleted my data. So avoid HelloFresh because they are pretty predatory. But the second day I came in, I was like, right, I put on some loud music, I had some energy. Then there was another excruciating, infantilizing warm-up from another, like a theatre troupe, where it's like, okay, this might be nice for children, but we're adults and you're sort of giving us the same spiel. That's a bit boring. There was some more conversations. Something that really upset me was there's two black women on stage, which is kind of a rare thing, two women talking to each other on a stage, let alone two black women talking to each other, and talking about all the abuse they faced at the BBC, all the stuff that they deal with on a daily basis, and then just seeing people, oh, there's two women up on stage, so we're just going to start talking among ourselves. And I'm looking around and people are just talking among themselves. I'm like, you are literally watching two people talking about how much disrespect they get in the workplace, and you're doing it right here. You weren't doing this when Louis Theroux was talking. You weren't doing this when the white guy was talking. So everybody, can you wake up? So that just, again, like it was hard to fight the negative feelings about all this. And then we got the Apple demo. They're doing great, Apple. Products that are best for the world, they say. They showed a beautiful ad that made me cry a little bit. It's about some disability feature. That Apple are doing the best when it comes to, like sustainability and UX and accessibility. They are doing the best, but they change the color of their phones every 6 months, so you have to buy a new one, right? They are not, in any objective sense, doing like a sustainable business model. Hey, Donald. So I'm like, okay, you're going to be carbon neutral by 2030. Great. Barely mentioned repairability. Didn't talk about planned obsolescence. And then like this hilarious thing, we're reducing the carbon footprint by not using pen and paper. And I'm like, okay, you make devices with batteries that can't be changed, storage and RAM that can't be upgraded. You can't tell me you care at all about sustainability. You're doing just enough. So, there's another thing where I'm like, come on, guys. Not good enough. I don't know why I expected it to be any better. They're still doing the best out of anyone, but it's kind of pathetic in terms of what is needed. We got some, young speakers. This a 17-year-old from India that has done very well, but again, seems to have come from a rich background, so I don't know how much normal people are supposed to take from that. There was a lot of people, a lot of survivor bias. I felt a lot of kind of like unquestioned privilege going on, and that's what it was. So because I couldn't, I didn't have a stand, and it was very hard to sort of. I'll show you a little bit of the dark patterns they were using to isolate people in a moment. The Bett conference themselves. I was having a listen into. I just sort of started like trying to eavesdrop a bit on people, and I heard a couple of things like it's just like money is problems. I've got no resources. What can I do? And then some people sort of in work mode, like, oh, there was a really good one on tech strategy, and people like to feel like they're learning something. And I'm sure a lot of people did. But then you get stuff like this. It's a talk in a sort of open area where you feel like, the guys there, you could probably talk to each other, but then they have this like tub of headphones, and so everyone's wearing headphones. Look, so how do you turn to each other and have a nice chat when you've got headphones on? It's like everything that they could possibly do to keep people isolated, to paywall every human interaction was done. And I looked into the prices of what it would take to have some meetings with some, people, institutions, and it would have cost me, £1,250 just to be able to like talk to someone I wanted to talk to, or like, you know, grab them and wrestle them to the ground in the aisles, because everyone's just walking around. So this was, it felt very, very cynical and very like refined in terms of how much money they were trying to get out of people and how much they were paywalling the human interactions. And I found that really like distasteful. I will say there is an argument to be made that they are protecting them from people like me who want to sell them something. You know, I need to sort of address a little bit of like, maybe, you know, if I wanted to talk to potential customers so much, I should have just shelled out the £2,000 to have a stall. Yes, this is probably true. And maybe it's kind of it is good to make it a little bit more difficult for people to kind of just hijack the thing and just start talking to random teachers. But I don't know, man. Like, I didn't like it. I had a good chat with someone at Furniture. So if I do manage to get, you know, if this ever takes off, I'm going to get myself a custom like music desk that transforms. They make the thing, they CAD them up. I enjoyed that. There was some really interesting, there was a couple of people doing webcam stuff. So there was one like green screen service where it put you in a 3D environment. Kind of cool. Like immersive 3D, Unreal Engine. I think you have to be full body for it to really work. So I did actually set up Shoot to see if my virtual green screen would let me do a full body one, and it doesn't. The distance of the depth sensor isn't particularly good, so I wasn't able to get a lot out of that. But I don't know, it was interesting to see, maybe we can sort of create a space in 3D and have like a map, and you go to the map and you draw on the map, and then, you know, this is something to think about in future. CueCam is a 3D environment already, so it wouldn't be super difficult to start adding in some 3D elements. You know, that's how a Side 3D works. So yeah, watched a couple of things, and then I had this idea of like, so the third morning I had this idea, well, why don't I just like print out, I went into town, I bought myself a backpack because I didn't want to be walking around with all my heavy bags. But I thought, well, I'll get a backpack and I'll stick a sign to the back. So I made a little sign that says, ask me about remote presentations on Mac, Teams icon, and the like a Zoom icon. I just sort of, I put it on my back to start with, and then I was walking around and going like, I can't pull any punches with this. I've got a son coming. My pride is not important. So I like stuck it to my front awkwardly. And then it was like, it's a bit boring looking. Sorry, I'm trying to get out of the way because I don't have a Side 3D face follow on this camera. But there was this graphic wall. I found some colourful, I wanted a bit of pink on there. So I just, you know, like brightened it up a bit. But then you go through these, and then sort of, I did that a little bit. No one talked to me really. And then I was coming in through you have to scan your pass to sort of come into one of the halls. I was coming in, and the woman who was like scanning was like, what do you want me to talk about? And then the security person was like, wait a minute, and then stopped me and said, I don't think you're allowed to do this. It's marketing, it's self-promotion on the thing. And I'm like, really? You're gonna like not let me come in with this like the world's crappiest sign? It's like, you can't tell me this is like, it's so crap. Like, why are you going to give me a hard time? Like, just let me humiliate myself. But literally, but then I was like, at the same time, I was like, yeah, I'm sure it's in there. Like, everything else has been locked down. Why wouldn't this? And I suppose you realise then it's going to become an attention arms race. If I don't have a flashing LED panel on top of me, no one's even going to look. That was the feeling I had. So I can imagine, like, they don't want people coming in dressed up as whatever and just, like, walking through the conference and getting loads of conversations. But I mean, come on, really? You're going to send me out for having the world's crappiest sign? Luckily, there was only half an hour. I was leaving in half an hour anyway, so I just went, whatever, see ya. And kind of left. It was like, it was all pretty humiliating and pretty bad. And then I just, even as I was collecting my coat from the cloakroom, I was like, I feel like everyone knows about racism and then literally like just this little racist incident at the coat checking booth. Not like a aggressive thing, but like confusing two different black women for each other, even though like one had bleach blonde hair. Like, this was the level of like, I don't know, consciousness going on. So, you know, what's the answer? there was a lot of promise to this conference, and people say, oh yeah, have loads of meetings, talk to loads of people. But I think with a lot of the things that feel like they're going to be a silver bullet or they're going to give you a lot for not much, it's never like that. So I want to continue to keep things small and modest, and don't expect to be able to broadcast or throw money at anything. I want to just make sure each and every person who uses my apps has a direct line to me, and the knowledge that I continue to support your needs and make something that I hope you'll continue to recommend to other people. And and I think that the word of mouth thing is so important, and I just think I have to do one person at a time. I think trying to broadcast is just not going to be productive. And then we do the referral schemes, we do the small scale things, and we just try and build it up over time. And I think that's more honest. I think that's more sustainable. I think maybe if I had VC money, I could spend $5,000 on a stand at a conference, but I don't. This is all me, self-started, self-funded, bootstrapped business. When bootstrap used to mean something that's impossible to do. You can't lift yourself up by your bootstraps. That's impossible. That's the joke. No, now we're just all expected to bootstrap. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, in terms of education, I'm just going to put in a super cheap plan for students and teachers onto the QCAM website. Do sort of around that £6 thing. Just to sort of, I don't know, and if I talk to them, I'll do free, super cheap ones, free ones, I don't know. Just if someone wants to use it in education, I don't think that's going to be, maybe if 2 or 3 people in a department start using it, maybe they'll, maybe the head of something comes to me. But I think for now, the best I can do really is just try and make it cheap for educators, because the companies, the schools, they're not going to buy it. So that was Bett. And Neil says, sounds like a fun conference. Not exactly. It was depressing. Anyway, I've got this baby in a couple of weeks, so we're looking at some plans for how to sort of do a live stream that I can maybe dial in to the stream rather than sort of having to set it up and everything. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah, if you want to come and join us, it's squares.tv or squares.tv/Discord. Come and hang out, come and ask questions, come and get involved. There's lots of people on there now. It's getting a bit more exciting. And to play us out, I will give you one of my little Instagram vignettes. See you, Lorenzo. See you, everyone. We're coming up to the hour. This has been a pretty packed session, hasn't it? I have not stopped talking for an hour. I hope you didn't mind me going into my existential crises about the nature of the education system. At least in this country, we don't have it based on local housing taxes, so that there's no redistribution of anything. At least here it's vaguely reproduced. I think you've got it worse in America in many ways, certainly if you're in a poorer area. But yeah, it's pretty bad in the UK here, at the moment. And everyone says education is the most important thing. And that yet, there's a line in the West Wing. I think teachers should be palaces. Schools should be palaces. We should be spending fighter jet money on these schools, not giving them scraps. This is Rob Lowe in the West Wing is that was what I was yeah, that's what it should be. Educate everyone the opportunity to do whatever they want, free higher education. And no, we're monetizing student fees, cutting race to the bottom, do the least we can for people, and then sort of claim that technology is going to solve it. Sorry, I said sorry that I was talking like that and then started talking like that again. I'm going to stop now. To play us out is Barry doing a dance. I'll see you soon. Bye. Thank you.